Hello dear, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Faye and today I want to pick up the conversation from my last video on how luxury jewelry is changing. I will link to it here if in case you haven't watched it, because so many of you started debating diamonds, lab grown versus natural, and what's actual ethical, what's worth passing down one day, and so on. And one question that kept coming that I genuinely couldn't stop thinking about, that was, what does the conflict-free diamonds even mean? I mean, I'm a girl who loves blings, but now I'm more critical than ever regarding any of my future jewelry and diamond purchase. I went down a full rabbit hole again, and what I found kind of surprised me, because that little label of conflict free means way less than we think. And I'm not here to push any politics or tell you what to buy, but some of the things clearly shocked me and have changed my view on how I will spend my money on diamonds. So let's get into it. Let's first talk a little bit about the quick backstory. The conflict-free comes from something called the Kimberley Process, set up in the early 2000s after the African civil wars, the so-called blood diamond era, and the goal was to stop diamonds from funding those wars, and honestly it did help. And for you who hear about the blood diamond era for the first time, it mostly referred to the 1990s and the early 2000s, when brutal civil wars broke out in African countries like Sierra Leone, Angola, and Liberia. Rebel groups seized control of diamond mines and used the profits to buy weapons and fund their fighting. So the diamonds were literally paying for the violence. These wars were horrific, often involving mass killings and child soldiers, which is where the name blood diamonds or conflict diamonds comes from. The problem was that these stones got mixed into the normal global market, so people buying a diamond ring had no idea it might have been funded a war. And that outrage led to the Kimberley Process in 2003 to certify diamonds as conflict-free. And the whole thing reached mainstream awareness with the 2006 film Blood Diamonds, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, but the issue is that according to watchdogs like Global Witness, the definition is super narrow. It only covers rough diamond used by rebel group fighting government, and that's it. So two big things slip right through everything after mining, like the cutting and trading and any diamonds tied to a governance, military, or abuses. And Amnesty International has flagged this for years, so conflict-free is technically true. It's just a really low bar. And let me show you what I mean. And I want to be fair, because this is a global thing, not just one country. And for instance, Zimbabwe, the Marange field, had documented state-linked violence, and those diamonds still is counted as conflict-free. Also Russia, and this one is wild, because Russian diamonds are conflict-free under Kimberley, but the G7 and EU sanctioned them anyway because the money helps fund the war in Ukraine. So governments themselves are basically admitting the label isn't enough. And the luxury angle, I mean, most diamonds, around 90% per McKinsey report, are cut in India, but the big high value stones most luxury houses use are mostly cut in Antwerp and Israel. The human rights groups and the BDS movement argued diamonds cut in Israel shouldn't be called conflict-free during the current war. Israel's diamonds industry firmly disagrees and was actually an early supporter of the Kimberley Process. I'm truly not taking any sides here, but I'm just sharing with you that a tiny conflict-free stamp was never created to answer any of the big questions like this. And I think part of the problem is just how fragmented a diamond's journey is. It can be mined in one country, traded through Antwerp or Dubai, cut in India or Israel, and then sold somewhere totally far away country, somewhere else. I mean, it's one stone, but then it lands in thousands of hands. So when someone says a diamond is ethical, I always want to ask, ethical in which step? So when I looked further, because I was thinking that, in 2026, there got to be a scan the code and then we see everything kind of passport for this, right? Nope. I mean, no, it doesn't exist. at least not for diamonds. And what's actually required is a G7 origin rule from this January, but it's mostly there to block sanctioned Russian diamonds, not to show you a carbon footprint or every handler. I mean, G7 is basically a strict traceability trade protocol designed to ban the import of Russian mined diamonds and consists of 7 countries, whereas France, the US, Great Britain, Germany, Japan, Italy and Canada are part of. And the EU's big digital product passport is rolling out through 2030, and it's covering steel and textiles, furnitures, batteries, but jewelry and diamonds aren't even on the list. What you can check is voluntary, GIA origin report or blockchain tracing like De Beers tracker, but that's available only if your retailer bothers to offer it. And I mean, honestly, this is the part that actually disappoints me the most. I really think that the EU should set a higher bar. Right now, sustainable gets slapped on lab grown even when it's made with coal power, which can be a real footprint, and conflict free on a natural stone still doesn't tell you the money didn't touch a war. The one bright thing in this whole issue is that from September in EU they are finally banning those vague climate neutral and green claims, but for now the burden is basically on us to ask about the origins and to see certificates in order to get some kind of transparency. And that's actually what I do now. I ask always where diamonds are from and where it was cut, not just if it is conflict free. I think that what we as customer can do is to push it to ask for real documentation like a GIA report, a traceability resource, a blockchain record if they've got one. If ethics matter to you, then look at traceable origin naturals or lab grown from a brand that's open about renewable energy and rewards the brands that actually answer these questions instead of hiding behind a label. And I believe that we got way more power as a buyer than the industry lets us think. So conflict-free isn't a lie, but it's nowhere near the full story, and I'm not saying any of this to make you feel guilty about the diamond you love or just purchased. I just think an informed buyer is a powerful one. So tell me, did you know that conflict-free actually covered only this? And what would make you trust a diamond's ethics? This whole video came from your comments basically, so let's keep the conversation going. I'm reading every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up of this video so that I know that this kind of video is appreciated. And please subscribe if you want to learn about how to become a more conscious buyer. I'm sharing my love for luxury and curated quality purchases and some small moments from my life in Stockholm. And subscribe to follow me along, and I will see you on my next video. Yeah.